Rip City. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. A beautiful sunny day out. Plenty of sports to get to today. We're going to start, though, talking MLB draft, where Oregon State star Travis Bazzana goes number 1 overall to the Cleveland Guardians. Teammate Aiden May also picked by the Miami Marlins, 70th overall. So a good day for the Beavers. If you're paying attention to the Hillsboro Hops as well, the parent club, the Arizona Diamondbacks, took Slade Caldwell out of Valley View High School with the 29th overall pick. And in basketball news, the Blazers did open up Summer League over the weekend with an 83-77 loss to the San Antonio Spurs. Donovan Clingan, newest Trailblazer, 13 rebounds and 5 blocks. Chris Burkhardt here with Dwight Jaynes. Rip City Drive starts now.
Yeah, swings and hits one into the gap, right center field. That one is falling, a dive, and no! It rolls past the center fielder, Margot. Yaz around second, digging for third, and standing at third on a wild throw. The throw goes out of play, and this ball game is over. A Little League home run to wrap it up. A triple for Yastrzemski, and then an incredibly wild and sort of insane throw that did not need to be made, and that gave the Giants the win. 3-2 Giants.
The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad, presented by Lazy Boy. What is your strategy for comfort?
Here's Geloff. He swings and he slams one to deep left center field on its way, and it is a grand slam. And there's the record tying home run. The 8th of the day for the Athletics, going back to 1996, and the Athletics now lead it 18-3.
Shine sweet freedom, shining on me.
Don't you?
Forget, not in love anymore. Yeah, the whole thing.
That's enough singing.
I got it, man.
Yeah.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad starts now.
Welcome into the Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhardt here with you, filling in for Chad doing today. You guys probably heard him on the morning show. He was having some fun, and then he went out and hit the golf course. He was out there with Alex Brink and Ryan DePaulo today for their little golf tourney, so I'm sure he was having a good old day, Dwight.
He's having a good day, and that's a good tournament, raising money for a good cause.
Yep.
And I'm glad he's out there representing us. I'm glad it's not me out there playing
or
today.
me.
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to Chad. He's a little bit of flexibility. He asked me to jump in. Hey, you gonna do the morning show? And I'm like, my wife works in the morning. I can't have her change her schedule. He's, okay, we'll mix it up. I can still get out to the golf course. So he got in on the morning, and I don't think any day for him, if he can host radio and golf in the same day, I think he's doing all right.
Yeah, he's very comfortable with that.
I got some golf in over the weekend. Went out Friday night, Dwight, and I am not the avid golfer that our friend Chad is. He called me the other day with something to say while I was at work, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm walking up to my drive. I'm on the 17th here at Blue Heron." Or I'm like, "You're always golfing, right?"
Yeah.
Hey, but I did. I hit a 51 through 9, which for me, I mean, light the fireworks and let them go, because I was on pace to break a hundo through 18, which I've never done, but we only played 9. But that was definitely a good day for me.
I'll tell you, the best part about the summers here, you can go out at 6 o'clock and get 9 holes in.
Yep.
Easy. Plenty of light, and it's nice. It's not too hot. It's just kind of cooling off a little bit. That's the best time to play for me.
Yeah, and you get that twilight pricing.
Yeah.
That matters too.
Oh, they cut the price out there where you went?
Oh, yeah.
Later in the day?
Yep, they usually do. So
That's cool.
yeah, now I got to call out my buddy, though, who we're golfing with, Justin, one of my best friends. He was my college roommate, went to high school with him. Great guy. But he got in my head. He played the game. He's good at that, right? So he goes, "Oh, Burke, you're sitting at a 45. 5 strokes on this last hole, man. You're going to hit 50. So what do I do after having a great day? My tee shot, just popped it up. It went about 50 yards because I shot it way up in the air, shanked my next shot, and I end up recovering to still get a 6 on that final par 5.
That's kind of dirty. Were you playing for money?
Oh, heck no. None of us are good enough to play for money. And I'm smart enough that even if we were, be like, I'm just here for fun. I'll do some commentary for you guys, but I'm not putting money down. I'll play for a drink, though. Like, hey, we'll run random hole. Hey, low score on this hole buys drinks. Okay, that's fine with me, but I'm not putting real money down on the golf game because
I don't blame
it ain't that good yet. Got to find time in my schedule. I want to go get some lessons and surprise them all.
Yeah, I hate to do the lessons, but sometimes they're just necessary. This coming weekend, I got to take one too. I just haven't been able to play much in the last year, and my swing is gone. I don't know what happened to it, but it's not there yet, so I got to go back to the drawing board.
It doesn't take much for it to vanish, even if you have it.
So. Yeah, especially if you don't play. I mean, it's one of those sports that it's just imperative that you practice and practice a lot.
Mm-hmm. It is. But all I know is I've never taken a golf lesson in my life, Dwight. But when you're out on the course and they're like, "Oh, Burke, you must have got some lessons when you haven't been playing with us," I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. I'm having a good day. Haven't got any, but you think I did. Good day. That's a good day." So I need to try to get some more golfing in there, more than once a summer. Otherwise, my golf game's never going to improve.
Yeah, it's hard.
So, and it's a fun game though. Why is it? It's a game that's like you got to be a glutton for punishment to enjoy it almost.
It's so frustrating. I think everybody who's ever played it has thought about quitting at some point in time. It's like, why am I wasting? That's why I have trouble playing 18 because I just feel like after I've been out there for 9, that's enough. I 9's good enough. I feel like spending 3 or 4 hours out here is like, shouldn't there be something else I should be doing?
Yeah. You ever see that band in Solstice where they try to get all 4 courses in one day?
Oh, God.
Yeah. You start on one of them right as the sun comes up, and you got to try to get through all 4 courses in one day. I think you win like $100 at the end of it in a drink.
Yeah, you got to walk banded, too.
Oh,
you can't ride in a cart out there.
That'd be exhausting. I mean, that's...
No, thanks.
You ready for 72 holes of golf in one day?
No, thanks.
I mean, it's a beautiful course out there. Don't get me wrong, but
I can live without playing it.
Yeah.
Really, I played some really nice courses in my time, and most of them kicked my butt. So I don't need to go down all the way down there and pay a lot of money to just have another bad round.
Yeah, and you're like me because you're a baseball guy first, so. The hardest thing about golf was getting the baseball swing out of your golf swing is impossible. Like that takes so much work.
I know. I know. It's funny. You think, and for a lot of baseball players, it's easier. But I think of all the cross sport guys, hockey players seem to do the best with it. There's a lot of really good golfers who are hockey players.
Okay.
I think a lot of baseball players are too, but I don't find a lot of commonality with the baseball swing. I never have.
Maybe you can just take some hockey lessons with your pal Mike Johnston, and maybe that'll translate to the golf swing.
Maybe so.
Maybe.
I would imagine Mike's a pretty good golfer. Probably is.
He probably is, and he knows a thing or two about hockey. So, off the golf course, though, Dwight, in other news before we get to sports, and there's plenty of sports to talk about today. Like you heard in the update, Travis Bazzana going number 1 overall. I want to get your thoughts on that. All these prospects coming through Oregon State just as good as anybody, and get your thoughts on him. Some NFL quarterback rankings that dropped on ESPN. We want to talk about where Justin Herbert landed. Do we agree, disagree? And, of course, the Blazers Summer League. But at the same time, before we get to that, I want to talk about the craziness going on around the state of Oregon right now, and really everywhere. I mean, it's been celebrities passing away. You've seen the stuff with Trump and the president. That's been that took over the news cycle, and then obviously here in the state of Oregon, man, it is wildfire season, and they are popping up. And you guys have heard me talk a lot on this show about my family's lake house and this and that.
I meant to ask you. You were there on the 4th, right?
I was there on the 4th. It was amazing, by the way. It was about 104 degrees every day. I just sat in the water and enjoyed every minute of it. We left on Saturday, and then on Tuesday, that Larch Creek fire started.
Yeah.
And that started over north of Duffer, which is the area that our lake is at. So it was this past weekend, and called my mom back, hey, you guys are in a level 3 get out now. And she sent me a picture, Dwight. there's on the main road you take to get in. She sent me a picture. She's leaving, and you see the hills of Ty Valley there, and I mean, the fire was right on the hills coming down, man. And so she sent me a picture, and they have been battling like crazy on that southwest edge. That's right where the lake is, Pine Hollow, and they've been doing a good job. Last update, they think they might have that edge contain too much more growth. But man, my mom sent me a picture, a video yesterday, and she's like, I've never seen it like this. But I mean, the planes are coming into the lake, just coming right in, scooping up the water, flying out. I mean, they're flying right over my mom and dad's lake house with, right after they'd scoop the water up, man. And I mean, she's like, I've never seen anything like this. And smoke subsided because the wind changed, but it's just still surreal seeing these planes just flying over your house, scooping water out of the lake, man.
Whew. Yeah, I was wondering if they were there during the fires. If the wind's blowing the wrong way, that's a lot of smoke to inhale.
Yeah, it is. My mom said you couldn't really notice it until you went inside. When you went inside and you got the fresh AC, everything, she's like, oh, fresh air. She's like, yeah, you could tell. And it was a lot of smoke in the air for them, and the wind shifted. And, of course, anything could change at any point with those fires till they're out. But, I mean, crazy. That's right there on your back porch, literally. I mean, the fire edge maybe, mile and a half away from the house, which is not far at all, because that's all between the lake and where the fire is right now is just all farmland and empty space. So and it's all that dried grass, right? That can just go up and smoke, no pun intended. So yeah, it was a pretty interesting few days there between that. My car breaking down, if you listened into the show on Friday. Like, I think there's something in the air. I asked my mom, where's the Burkhart family reset button, because they need it.
What happened with your car anyway? What's wrong with it?
Well, I have to call the dealership. They haven't called me back yet. I dropped it off on Friday, and they said, we might not get to it today, so if you don't hear from me today, it might be Monday. So I haven't heard from them yet. So I'm going to call them tomorrow if I don't hear from them. But, man, I'm just driving down I-5, joking, because about this time last year, I ran out of gas because I wasn't paying attention. Brendan had to come pick me up to get to the show. But there I am on I-5, Dwight, 5:30 in the morning, coming in for the show. And all of a sudden, my car, I'm on the on-ramp because I had to stop real quick. But I'm on the on-ramp, and I accidentally hit my shifter from automatic to the manual override, because I have the one that you can do manual too. And when it did, usually it's just pop it back, you're good. Well, I go to pop it back, shifter doesn't move. Shifter does not move back to automatic. I couldn't shift up or down manually. It was just stuck right there in the middle. And I'm stuck in first gear on the on-ramp to I-5. And there's no room to pull off on the on-ramp. So I just hit the hazards and lurched through off the side of the road until I finally got to a spot on I-5 where I could pull off and turned my car off, tried to reset everything, but, it turned the car off. Well, I couldn't get the shifter back to park, so I couldn't turn my car back on and even first gear it to get off the next on-ramp, because I'm right in front of the on-ramp. And, yeah, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get my shifter to move. It was stuck. So
you had to get a tow.
I had to get a tow to the shop, and then I walked from the shop to the OSA office and called on the fancy app that we have, and I hosted the entire second half of the radio show, because we just went to Fox Sports because I wasn't here, right? Yeah. I hosted the radio show from the OSA office.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm a little afraid of hosting the morning show anymore. So
yeah, it's kind of bad karma there.
Yeah. That is what it is, man. And, it's just life. Throws you curveballs sometimes. Sometimes you strike out, sometimes you hit them.
That's not an old car you're driving around either, is it?
No, it's 10 years old, but that's not old.
No, not at all.
Still under 100,000 miles, so it should be good. But apparently, my wife laughed at me. I said, I need a bike. I'm just going to start biking everywhere. Move closer to the studio and start biking.
Yeah.
All right, Dwight. We're going to talk sports. Hey, when we come back, I want to dive in on Travis Bazzana going number 1 overall. What you think about him and the prospects that are coming out of that program over the last few years. Really, really interesting. And if you think he landed in a good spot there in Cleveland. Chris Burkhart here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes. Rip City Drives continues here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhardt here with you, joined by the Godfather Dwight Jaynes, filling in here for Chad today. He'll be in tomorrow morning as well, and then everything will be back to normal for everybody on Wednesday. Justin out of town, nice little Hawaiian vacation.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I heard on Wednesday. We were talking about. Must be nice to just pop out and get to Hawaii now and then.
Yeah, I just wouldn't go in the summer. It's so nice here in the summer. I feel like I want to be over there in the middle of the winter, you know?
Yeah.
Get away from this.
Yeah,
rain
absolutely.
and
This
stuff.
is beautiful. Summers here are hard to beat, man.
Yeah, I'm not interested in a summer vacation much anymore around here. I'd rather be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with you there. But Justin will be back Wednesday, and then everything will be back to normal for everybody. And the Hops, they're off right now, too. Got a little all-star break action. They'll be back at the end of the week. There's a lot going on in baseball, though. And one of the things going on over the last few days here is the MLB draft. Dwight, not a lot of shock if you've paid attention to it. Sometimes there's some movers and shakers or guys that are like, oh, I didn't see him going that high. Not at all. But going into this draft, it was pretty much a foregone conclusion that Travis Bazzana, Oregon State superstar, was going to go number one overall. And when number one came, that's exactly how it played out. Travis Bazzana, number one overall to the Cleveland Guardians. And I want to get your thoughts on that. I mean, you know baseball just about as well as anyone I've ever talked to about the sport. I mean, first off, there are good situations and there are bad situations in Major League Baseball. So for his position and that particular team, you think he landed in a good spot in Cleveland?
I do. I think it's a great spot for him. He fits the profile of what they like. He's a grinder. He's a worker. He works really hard. They like that. They're not totally tied into a bunch of home run hitters. They have all kinds of hitters in their lineup. And Stephen Kwan, their leadoff hitter, is a good example of that. By the way, they announced today he will be hitting leadoff in the All-Star game for the American League, which is pretty cool. And Adley Rutschman, by the way, will be hitting eighth. Adley's batting average has taken a real plunge in the last 3 weeks or so. But at any rate, I think the Guardians will be good for him. I'm still not sure which position he's going to play as he moves along in his professional career. Probably stay at second base, but there's some talk. Some organizations were talking about using him in the outfield. Weren't quite sure about how well he was going to turn the double play, but organizations have a way of fixing that. He can get better at that. But one thing I do know, he can really hit, Chris. You've seen him. I mean, he's a big-time hitter, and I wouldn't be surprised if his batting got him to the big leagues a little quicker than some guys get there, because everybody can use offense these days. Overall team batting average is way down this year in the big leagues. Travis Bazzana is a 300 hitter, I believe, in the big leagues, and with a little bit of pop, too. And so I'm happy for him and happy for their program. They've had a great draft so far. He went number one yesterday, and today in the second round, their Friday night pitcher, Aiden May, went in the second round to the Marlins. And then in the fifth round today, Jacob Kamatz, their second-day starter, went to the Tampa Bay Rays. Mm-hmm. And that's a good organization for him, too, because their starting pitchers don't throw more than about 5 innings. They don't get to the third time around the order. And that probably is good for Kamatz, because he had a little trouble in college, I think, getting deep into games. So might be a really good spot for him. He has really come a long way from his freshman season in his development. They've done a great job for him. And then later on today, I think 7th round, Bridger Holmes, their closer, went. And also Hainline, their shortstop, transferred from Washington State. He went in the 7th round today. Yep. So that's really good for them to have a couple more guys picked. And I think the Beavers run a terrific program down there, and I hope they can get through this time as an independent program the next 2 years.
Yeah, I absolutely hope they can get through it. I've talked about this with Brendan our morning show producer, who you all know is a big Beaver guy, covers them there as well. And it's, man, for as good as the program is, I hope this Pac-12 thing doesn't decimate them. Now, you look at teams, the smaller teams you look at like what George Horton did with schools like Cal State Fullerton, kind of putting them on the map, and you hope that Oregon State can continue that success, but without that conference behind them, it's a whole different ballgame, right? There's big adjustments that have to be made, and it's unfortunate, but a good line of success there. And to one of your points there with Bridger Holmes going in the 7th round, there's a pretty high chance that a lot of these guys picked right now could get through and get to the single A level by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And you got to remember that he went to the Angels. That's Tri-City Dust Devils. So there's a chance you see him playing against the Hillsboro Hops. Or even listening to him right here, Rip City Radio 620, home of the Hops. Get a chance to see some of your Oregon State Beavers up there. And it was a banner year for the Ducks in college baseball as well. And I'm not trying to poo-poo them. I'm a Duck. I love my Ducks. But Oregon State, man, they're churning them out, because Oregon right now to this point has one player picked, and that was in the 7th round. It was Brock Moore. But yeah, Travis Bazzana, man, he's a stud. And to your point, listening to baseball and doing the stuff that we do here with the Hops and paying attention to how players are called up and called down right now, especially through the low levels of the farm system, the way to get up and be called up is to smash the ball. Like, they're not worried about what your defense looks like right now. Like, you can make some errors here and there. They're like, we'll fix it. But if you can smash the ball, you're getting quick call-ups right now through the farms.
Yeah, I was happy to see him go number 1, too, because there was some doubt. He seemed like the logical number 1 guy, but names kept floating out there. But I think Cleveland was pretty certain of what it wanted to do all the way along. I think they had so much good luck with Quan out of the same program at Oregon State. That does influence decision makers a little bit. It's like, they appreciate the kind of...
Please silence all your cell phones.
Yeah, it's like... That was actually, my phone is silenced. That was my iWatch going off, too. I forgot to silence that along with
that
it.
one. So I'm not wearing it right now, and I left it at home because, the tattoo's healing. But every time I wear my watch when I host, I got to take it off because Siri always pops in. So sorry, I didn't understand that. I'm like, I didn't even say anything to you. Get off my wrist. What are you doing?
Well, the handy thing about it is I've got that lost my iPhone thing on my watch. And yesterday, just matter of factly, I thought I'd left it on the golf course. So I punched in right away. It told me, no, your watch is at home.
That's good. That's good. At least you didn't.
Or your phone is at home.
That's good. At least you didn't leave it on the course. I mean, who needs another reason to go back out on the golf course?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the only way, hey, I don't know what hole I lost it on. I'm just going to have to, play another 18 real quick. I'll start here and see if I can find it.
Yesterday when it was 91, I did feel like playing another.
You didn't feel like playing.
You're
hitting up the indoor virtual golf if you were at all. So.
Yeah.
But no, Bazzana going number 1 overall. Good pick. And what are your thoughts? Just, where does he sit for you as an Oregon State prospect? I know a lot of people, but maybe it's the easy recency bias, even the other one's recent too. But I've heard people put him higher than Rutschman. I heard people love Rutschman. Like I still go back to older guys like Jacoby Ellsbury, who was a great prospect. But where do you see him kind of in the ranks of kind of the all-time greats to come out of this program?
Yeah, they've had some good ones. Conforto was another one that went in the first round, big time, and Ellsbury too. I just think I'm still going to say Adley Rutschman because he was a catcher, and I mean, catchers are so hard to come by in the big leagues right now. The ones who can hit with power, switch hitter, he brings so much to the table with leadership and everything else that I would still lean toward Ellsbury. And part of that, I'm sure I'm influenced by seeing how well he's done in the big leagues. And I think in this case, I'll wait a little while to see how Travis does on his journey to the big leagues. But it's no question it's going to be a big boon to baseball in Australia, and that's very important to him. And I think it would be great if baseball really caught on down there and produced more big-time players.
Oh, man, absolutely it was. Grow the game, man. It's always fun to watch the game grow. And, I like Bazzana. I like Rutschman. And to your point, though, with Adley, man, like, defensive catchers is just like, it's a lost art almost anymore. Like, there's a lot of good ones, but there's not a lot of great defensive catchers. He was one, and granted, he wasn't the top level prospect that Adley was, but I mean, their coach right down there at Oregon State right now is a pretty good defensive catcher in his time for the Beavers, Mitch Canham. So there's something fun about watching a guy behind the plate who just dominates. Like forever watching Molina with the Cardinals in Major League Baseball.
Sure.
Like no one was giving him a ton of the whole, like, oh, he's the best catcher in baseball because he wasn't always popping off home runs like guys like Buster Posey when he was healthy, right? But like, no, Molina was probably the best catcher of his era. And it was why? Because defensively, he was just a stud.
Yeah, he was probably the best defensive catcher ever, or real close to it when you consider his pitch framing and his ability to throw runners out and blocking balls. He had the whole defensive package. And it's just like, I'm convinced, Chris, a lot of kids today don't want to catch. It's too much work. You can play a lot of other positions where you just don't have to work that hard. But, man, you go out and catch 9 innings. That's a day's work right there.
Oh, yeah.
And you get beat up a lot more than just about any other position. They're blocking balls off their bare arms. They're not, every part of your body isn't covered with protective gear. And you're taking shots all over your body all the time. I was a catcher, too, and I understand that. I know how I used to hate catching because they made me catch batting practice all the time. And I used to argue with my coaches. It's like, can't you just throw the ball against the screen in batting practice? Why do I have to catch? Well, because that's the only chance you have to work on your craft of catching. I said, look, I can catch the ball, okay? I don't need to work on that. I can catch in the bullpen and work on that. But the idea of taking an extra 15 or 20 shots to my arm, my upper legs, my private parts, all those things while catching batting practice, no thanks. I wasn't much interested in that. My senior year, I was mostly a first baseman, so that worked out a little better.
So I didn't mind live ball BP because I was an outfielder. So you just kind of sat out there and talked to your running mate,
right?
And someone, I'm up now. Okay, cool. You sit there. Not a lot of balls out here. We're good today. Oh, that one's in left field. I'm not moving. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. What happens in the long run though, Dwight? Because I am also a baseball purist, and my wife, who you know well, she gets mad when you even bring this up. But like the whole like automated strike zones because umpires are so bad. I'm like, no, because then you get rid of the art that is framing a pitch. Like that's an art. I like it.
Yeah, but I don't like it because
I love it.
I just think it's a form of cheating. And they won't let you cheat in any other way. So why are you allowed to cheat by fooling umpires like that? It's like flopping in basketball. It's the same kind of thing. You're preying on some people's inability to call the game correctly. And there's something about it that I don't like. And I am so tired of seeing games on TV where pitches 6 inches outside that box on the screen are called strikes. I'm tired of that. And
I just think it is funny though how they teach them nowadays because like the whole snap frame, which is not like the biggest tell of all. That hey, I just took a ball that was out of the zone and tried to get it back.
I know,
and they think someone's going to.
They're
bite.
Pulling pitches by a foot now. They're a foot out of the strike zone and they're pulling them back in. But they also have them on one knee now because they get lower and the umpires get a better look at the low strike. But by the same token, they can't move to block pitches anymore, and they're not in better shape to make a throw to the bases when they're on one knee. And now you see a lot of guys trying to throw from one knee. Good luck with that because over time you're going to have rotator cuff injuries.
You're going to tear your arm up, man.
Yeah,
holy smokes.
I think so. But you see a lot of guys doing it now, so I don't know, they're messing with the wrong things, I think.
I'm with you there. And I also agree to the, framing is a form of cheating. I just like the art of framing a pitch. It's kind of fun watching it.
Yeah.
But, don't hate the player, hate the game or whatever the saying goes. But
well, your wife is correct on this. Like most things, probably.
She just doesn't like the idea of automated everything.
Really?
She likes baseball old school. Like I said, to her, I think baseball is forever in her mind. The Joe DiMaggio and Yogi Berra days, and she just likes old school baseball.
There's a lot of people around like that, and they're very disappointed in the game today. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, they are, but it's a different game than it was not that long ago. It does feel like it's always changing, always evolving. But I've always found it to be a weird game, Dwight, because like I never thought the game of baseball was broken. But sometimes I feel like they make up reasons that it is to, and if you want to go automated umpires and to, get the strike zone more refined, I mean, heck, yeah, you're getting better pitches at that point, and that makes sense. But just all the nonstop, we need bigger bases, we need pitch clocks, we need this, we need the speed of I don't think the game was broken. The fact that, sometimes the game was fun. It's just a nice, beautiful summer afternoon. You got a hot dog and a drink, and you're just sitting there, and I don't want the game to go by fast.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find it that the changes have been they've sped up the game so much. Sometimes right now you sit down at a game and it's 1, 2, 3. Where'd the 3 outs go? I didn't even know we got through the inning.
Well, what I find really is and this is backwards for most people. When I go to a game, I want a long game because I've had to drive to Seattle or I'm in another town. It's like the game can go as long as I want. When I'm sitting at home on TV and there's 8 other things in the house I should be doing instead of watching this game on television, it's like, speed it up, guys. Quicken it up. And they've really found that to gain new fans, it has to be quicker. People's attention span nowadays isn't like what it was when I was growing up. They don't want to sit there that long and watch. They'll sit there for a long college football game, but they won't for a baseball game.
That's true. But again, that's a point you just made there, almost inadvertently, though, is a lot of these games are making their changes to the in-home product, what you're seeing on TV, at the expense of the in-person product. And I don't care how good the TV product is or how good my in-home theater is and how comfortable it will never be being in the stadium,
right,
sitting behind home plate or at Autzen for on a Saturday or wherever you're going. Yeah. The in-stadium, in-arena product is it.
No question.
Unless it's arena football. That in-arena product was terrible.
No matter where you watch that.
Yeah. The old joke from Spinal Tap, like these ones go up to 11. Well, in arena football, they went up to 20 when they shouldn't have been past 5. And it was the loudest, most obnoxious in-arena product there was. The Arena Football League that they keep reviving and then killing and then reviving again. Like
it's not amazing.
It's insane how that league just continues to find a way.
Yeah.
Like the team down in Salem that played one game this year and then they folded because the Arena League was doing whatever, but then the Arena League restructured and then said that they'd be back. I don't even know what status the team is anymore. The Arena League is wild. This is spoken from the former NBC Sports Portland Thunder / Steel insider, okay?
Yeah.
I was on that beat.
You were the beat guy.
I was on that beat. It was fun to cover. Just, oh my gosh, turn the volume down a little bit. All right, hey, Dwight, when we come back, what do we want to talk about, man? There's so much to talk about. I don't know, but we could talk about the college football video game. The Ducks teased new uniforms again. Angel Reese, because that's always a talking point. But we're going to leave you hanging. What do you want to hear us talk about? Go on YouTube. Tell us. Join the phones, 503-248-0620. Blazers Summer League, man. There is sports going on right now, and I love it. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes. Rip City Drive continues after the break right here on Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the Rib City Drive. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather Dwight Jaynes, and we got sports to get to, Dwight. And let's shift our focus a little bit. We got baseball draft talk and all that stuff, but let's go to Trailblazers. And before we get to Summer League, I want to talk about some news that was dropped today. I don't know how many people have seen it, considering who tweeted it, just because I don't know how many people here follow the official Climate Pledge Arena account. That is the
I don't.
right. That is the arena up there in Seattle. But they tweeted today about their schedule. It says the 2024 Rain City Showcase, presented by Pokemon, which is just hilarious, returns to Climate Pledge Arena on Friday, October 11th. The game will feature the Trailblazers as they take on the LA Clippers. Tickets go on sale Friday, July 19th. So the Blazers heading back up to Seattle for another preseason basketball game, this time against the Clippers. And not a bad little move, and fun to see basketball in Seattle, man.
Yeah, and I think it might be fun for some Blazer fans if they want to just take a little drive up there and check out the new arena. It is pretty much a new arena compared to what Key Arena used to be. And chance to see the Blazers in an exhibition game against the Clippers. And Steve Ballmer likes to bring a game into Seattle every year, and makes him feel good, I think. And I think it's only appropriate that it's sponsored by Pokemon.
Right.
It's kind of perfect for Steve Ballmer.
Yeah, I got to catch them all, man. So it is nice to see it up there. Now, last year they did this too. They had the preseason game up there, and there was a lot of rumors that, you were going to hear the announcement of a team in Seattle along with a team in Las Vegas, and they were working on announcing that. That came and went. You never heard anything. That still kind of rings true. Most people in the know that you talk to, sounds like Seattle and Vegas are just kind of there. It's just a matter of when, not if. But do you think like these types of things, the NBA playing these preseason games in Seattle, are almost like just toe in the water, testing that Seattle market a little bit, or are they pretty entrenched in there?
No, I don't think so. I think it's Steve Ballmer wanting to bring a game into the town where he lived for so long, and I think that's the big deal. They know what Seattle is, and they know that they owe Seattle a team, and so it's just a matter of what has to happen first. They have to make the announcement that they're accepting applications for a new franchise. And then whoever is interested will submit a formal bid, and also, I think, have to furnish a financial statement and probably a rather large deposit along with it. That's usually the way things go like this, because it gives the league a chance to find out who else is interested in teams, how much are they willing to pay, and the league will probably put a price on what it's going to cost for an expansion team before that, but we'll see. And then they'll appraise all the groups wanting it. Now, I will say the Seattle group, and I'm not going to say who it is, but the Seattle group is already pretty well known among NBA circles. The same people who want to, have been trying to get one for years now, and who had a hand in renovating that arena up there. They're the ones that deserve the team, and they'll probably get it. But I don't think you'll have to wait too long. All information is that team could be up there playing in a couple of years, because the arena is all ready for them. And so it might actually get online before the franchise in Las Vegas is.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. How long till that Las Vegas bubble bursts, though?
I know. I think the franchise that's going to pay the steepest price for that bubble is the baseball franchise. I'm still not convinced that will be supported the same way that the hockey team has been and the NBA team will be. Chris, that's a lot of home games. When you start playing, 81 home games a year in a town, it's a lot different than supporting a football team or even a hockey team's a little different because it's so it's so different for Las Vegas. I'm just not sure. They've had baseball down there, AAA baseball, for a long time. I'm not so sure about baseball and how it will be supported. They depend so much on casinos, tourists, things like that to support the team. We'll see. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think it will be too, but I'm looking forward to expansion in the long run. Now, another question I posed to you about this particular preseason game, Dwight, is why don't they do this more? Like more preseason games at locations that don't have teams or don't see it. Like you see, like the Blazers do their trip around Oregon where they go to the communities that obviously aren't close to Portland, so they don't maybe get to see the Blazers or interact with people, and it's a great thing that they do. But like, wouldn't it be cool to see a preseason game at Matthew Knight Arena in Eugene, where maybe people in Grants Pass who can't make a trip all the way up get a chance, or Seattle, Vancouver that you and I went to, which was great. Like these are fun.
Well, they did it for years. And it alternated between Corvallis and Eugene.
Really?
For years they did that.
Never paid attention or knew that.
Yeah, no.
I'm a young guy.
I covered an NBA exhibition game at Klamath Falls. They played at OIT.
No way.
No, they played all
They would never do that now.
No, they played all over the place.
Wow.
But the thing is, it's different now. And it's the same in the NFL. They used to play NFL exhibition games in Portland. For years I went to those. But not now. Because now the money's in the town they're playing in, and they can sell those exhibition games as part of the season ticket package and get guaranteed sales on those, which are much more than they could get by playing anywhere else. I mean,
always the dollar.
You'd ask for a guarantee like in Eugene. And Matt, okay, U of O, how much will you give us to come down there and play? Well, it wouldn't be as much as they can make by playing here. And they did. I remember so often if they had a Duck on the team, they would play a game in Eugene, and same in Corvallis with a Beaver. And then they did for years alternate them kind of back and forth. But it's just, and it hasn't been that many years that they stopped doing that, I think. But now the money is in playing at home. The NFL thing is, that's an easy call because it's the same way. They require you to buy tickets for the exhibition games, and they have much bigger stadiums than NBA arenas. So that's a lot of money to turn down to go ahead and play in a place like Old Multnomah Stadium, where you get.
See, and I get that, but the reason I ask is because you also have this, but then at the same time, you're like, oh, preseason is part of the package to be a season ticket holder. Oh, yeah, but we have one less regular season home game because we're playing this one in Mexico City this year.
Right.
And so you take regular season games away, which are always.
I know.
Like,
but they get big money for those. And it's part of their overall expand the game kind of thing, go worldwide, globalization and all that stuff. So that's why they do that. But, hey, I also remember the days when the Phillies, the Mariners, the Pirates would play exhibition baseball games in Portland, too, during the season. That was awesome. It was fantastic. I saw Stan Musial play for the Cardinals. They played here one time.
That'd be cool.
Oh, my goodness. All of these games that came in here, the Phillies with Pete Rose and Mike Schmidt. Are you kidding me? The Pirates with Stargell and Parker. They played right here in Portland. You're not going to see that anymore either.
Man, nostalgia. That just sounds fun. I need a time machine. Where's my DeLorean? All right, we're going to take a break, though. When we come back, still plenty of Blazer talk to talk about. We're going to start talking about Donovan Clingan and his debut down there in Summer League. Blazers do play again tonight in Summer League as well. We'll talk about it all right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. It is 4:00 here in the Rose City, and there are plenty of sports to talk about, and we're going to do it all. But first, we're going to talk about news in Major League Baseball, the MLB draft going on, and Oregon State star Travis Bazzana goes #1 overall to the Cleveland Guardians. So a great get for the team in Cleveland, but he wasn't the only Oregon State Beaver selected. Shortly after that, in the second round, Aiden May selected by the Marlins, Jacob Komatz, Bridger Holmes, Elijah Hainlin also off the board. So pretty good day for the Beavers. In Blazer news, the Blazers dropped the opener of Summer League to the San Antonio Spurs, 83-77. Donovan Clingan, though, in his debut, 13 rebounds, 5 blocks. Not a great offensive performance, but we're going to break it down here in hour 2 of the Rip City Drive. Welcome back into the Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhart here with you, joined by the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes. You can follow me on Twitter at Chris J. Burkhart. You can follow Dwight at Dwight Jaynes. You can send us questions, comments, concerns, whatever you want over there. You can also join the conversation over on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, type in Rip City Radio. We'll pop right up. You can jump in the comment section. And, of course, if you want to jump in on the phone lines, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. All right, Dwight, let's talk about the Trailblazers here for a moment. The Blazers played their first game of Summer League over the weekend. They did lose to the Spurs 83-77. Their second game going on a little bit later tonight, 5:30 tip against the Summer League 76ers. That one will be at Thomas and Mack Center. And then, of course, tomorrow they play again against the Wizards, a little back-to-back. And then a nice break before taking on the Charlotte Hornets at Cox Pavilion. So a nice little slate for the Blazers. But you look at this performance, this loss to the Spurs. Again, losses, wins, they don't matter, guys. It's Summer League, the Summer League Championship. And I do not remember the parade that they had down Broadway for the Summer League Championship. Yeah. Right? It is just Summer League. But there is always things that you can take away from the games. And I think in this particular game, all eyes were on Trailblazers rookie, former UConn center, two-time national champ, Donovan Clingan. He played 26 minutes, 59 seconds, so 27 minutes of action. He had 13 rebounds, 5 blocks. He had 1 assist. The tough part, though, and I think a lot of fans were talking about it post-game, 1 for 8 shooting on the night. But what were your overall takeaways from Donovan Clingan?
Well, first of all, Chris, for people to worry about the shooting is crazy.
Right.
It's just not a factor. He's not being brought to Portland to be a scorer. You would assume if you put together the right kind of team, he wouldn't have to score much. He'd get his points off the backboard, offensive rebounds, putbacks, and tip-ins. And what he is here for is his defense, and he protected the rim very well for a guy in his first game in pseudo NBA competition, not real NBA, but, the next step above college. And he's going to be fine. He'll be fine. I think offensively, too, don't expect much offensively in Summer League because he's just not playing with a bunch of guys who know how to get him the ball. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of emphasis on that. I didn't see him on a lot of pick and rolls, and especially they don't really have an NBA type point guard playing with him who can run pick and roll and get him the ball off his roll, and so he's going to be stuck getting 3-point shots mostly, and he'll hit some of those. He was 0 for 3 on threes, and a couple of them way short. That's to be expected. It's a longer line than what he's used to. It's going to take a while to get used to shooting NBA threes, but I think he's going to be fine. His form is good on his shot. he'll be okay. And around the basket, he's going to score at the post. He'll be a good scorer when he gets the ball down there, which won't be a lot. So I think for people to expect all that from him, and face it, folks, they don't have a good summer league team. That's just not a team that's going to win a lot of games down there or compete real well, even though you have a lot of people trying to earn a job in Europe or somewhere in the NBA. But summer league is kind of every man for himself. It's very rare that you get a real focused team unless you have 3 or 4 players off that team who are a real core for your future. And even though they have some players from last year's team, it's not like a core group that you would expect when Damian Lillard was going down there with other, starting type players.
Well, I mean, plenty of summer leagues we saw guys like Jake Layman and Pat Connaughton, right?
Yeah,
and those were guys third-year guys who were going to be part of the rotation, playing for a game or two, and then they were out. But they were kind of there for that vet leadership a little bit.
Yeah, guys who spent a lot of time since then in the league. They were legit NBA players.
Yeah, and they were fighting for rotation minutes and playing it at that point as well. And you look at the lineup that they rolled out on Saturday. I mean, that starting lineup was Klingon, Kendrick Davis. Yeah, he's not a Blazer. Ryan Rupert, Chris Murray, and Justin Minaya, and those are all fringe, opening day roster guys.
If they make a roster, they're not going to be in anybody's rotation.
Yeah, I mean, the Manaya's been a two-way guy. Rupert played a lot of time down with the Rip City Remix. Chris Murray, I think, has a shot, but he's the 15th guy on your 15-man bench or whatever. So, it is a different ball game. The only player on their team, realistically, is probably a rotation guy day one on an NBA team right now is Donovan Klingon, and I think he'll be good at the end of the day. Like you said, it's so hard. People who don't understand summer league don't get it, and it's just hard to even get them to understand. But if you're a big man going in there with no true point guard to run the offense, you're not going to look great.
Yeah,
you're going to have to. So you're going to have to look for the things that they do that aren't showing up on the box score and all that. Like, I mean, Zach Collins didn't look great, but you could tell that he was a defensive center and he moved really well, and he's been good in San Antonio. And even if in his time in Portland, for all his ups and downs, there wasn't a big on the roster that moved like him. Yeah. Like he was good. And that's the thing with Donovan Klingon. I've seen a lot of the reports coming out about, hey, his size is legit. He doesn't, I think it was Danny Meringue who was talking about it. It was like, he doesn't move as quickly as a guy like Walker Kessler, who's been a really good defensive center, but he plays a lot more instinctually than a guy like Walker Kessler. And that's not something you're going to see on a box score, right? Those are things you got to see. How does he move? Is he in the right places? Does he affect shots? Does he get a hand in the face and impact a shot that he doesn't block? And I think he's doing a lot of those little things. And like you said, this team is not going to expect him to come out and start day one and be a 20-point per game guy. Like, that's just not what they brought him in for. Could he be there eventually? Maybe. But right now you got to go to your strengths, and his strengths are defense and rebound, and he seemed to do that pretty well in game one.
Yeah, he's long. That's the other thing. He's going to threaten shots that he doesn't block. And he did change some shots in that first game. They're coming up later today, and they're playing another exhibition game that's available, I believe, on NBA TV today. And so another chance to look at him, but he should get better as he plays more down there. I hope he doesn't get hurt because, frankly, there are a lot of hacks down there. There are a lot of guys down there just hacking people, trying to show their physical, trying to get a job somewhere in Europe. Guys that probably will never be in the NBA, especially big players. And the problem for a big down there is that you don't get the ball. It's a guards league. It really is, because nobody's really got time to install a set offense, or really, unless you have NBA point guards, they're just going to come down and fire the ball up or pass to the other guard who's going to fire the ball up.
Right.
It's just, it's not a good organized thing.
Yeah. And again, I used the Zach Collins comparison, and that was not because it was a lazy comparison to say, oh, the tall white guy and the other tall white guy they drafted. That's just thinking of another big center that I happen to be able to see firsthand for the Blazers at Summer League. And I think the difference between Klingon And Zach Collins, when you do hear that kind of comparison to your point about him being long and he's being big, like when Zach Collins was drafted and he came in, we all first saw him like he looked like kind of fresh out of high school. Like he looked like a kid just in a 7-foot body. And he still kind of looks like that as time. He put on his NBA size a little bit, but there was not a lot of power behind that size. Now, you and I both saw Donovan at the introductory press conference. When he walked in there, he's built like he's NBA body right now.
Yeah.
Like and he'll be able to put size on there too.
He will.
But so that's encouraging for sure because he's not coming in as a 7-footer that a lot of people think, 7-footer, so he's frail. Like, no, he's big, he's thick, he's ready to go.
Yeah. He could use a little more bulk, and I think he'll get it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And put on some more weight. But it'll be gradual, and he'll do it the right way. I just think there's every reason to be optimistic about him. Mm-hmm. I think he could be a piece moving forward for a long time. I don't see much else on that roster that I could say the same thing about.
Yeah, that's really true. Now, in the vein of Summer League, though, a little interesting. I know that he played good minutes for the Blazers and it kind of solidified his position. But for a guy like Tamani Kamara to not even be down there going because he's a young guy, right? Coming into, it's not like he's a vet. Obviously, Scoot not going down there.
Yeah.
I mean, Shea might have been able to even get a little bit of a bounce down there, but even that one makes sense because he's got a little more footing under him. But a little bit shocked at some of the names on this team that they didn't send just to get a little extra run.
Yeah, I expected to see Scoot Henderson there, even if it was just for a couple games, playing for a couple games, and let him work a little bit with Klingon. That's what I expected, just to help get him the ball, work a little bit on lobs, pick and roll, run that stuff so that he gets a little bit of a basis for it before training camp opens. I was hopeful of seeing that, and I think you make a good point about Kamara, another guy who I think could have profited from that kind of experience in competition.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he played well last year, and I think he solidified himself in these rotations. But he was a rookie, so getting the extra run out there, and again with Scoot too. If you want to build this thing around Scoot and Klingon and Sharp, like why not have your point guard down there practicing? Like these are extra practices, akin to college football, right? When a coach talks about the value of making a bowl is because you get those extra practices at the end of the season that other teams don't get.
Yeah.
Could have had that down here. So I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I think they think that the drill work he's getting and the work he's getting up here is better than that, and they don't have to worry so much about somebody taking a cheap shot at him during Summer League because he did get hurt last year. But I don't think you can approach it with that much fear, to be honest with you.
No, that's I get you. It's also fair. I'm also coming from a point where I just want to see Scoot back on the court. I want to see what they got.
A lot more fun if he were playing. That's for sure.
Yeah, right? So sometimes my takes are selfish, and that's okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, Dwight, who are your top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL? A recent poll came out on ESPN, and they gave us the definitive answers. Of course, nothing's definitive. We're going to talk about it, see if we agree with their picks. Where does Justin Herbert land? What about Tua? We know Brian Noe loves that guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
See you a top 10 quarterback? We'll talk about it here when we come back on the Rip City Drive. Welcome back into the Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhardt here, filling in for Chad Doing today. Joined by the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes. Chad will be hosting the morning show tomorrow. I'll be back, and then everything will be back to normal on Wednesday. So we're moving the chairs around and having a little bit of fun, Dwight. Nothing wrong with that, right?
No, I think it's good to throw a change up out there once in a while.
Absolutely. Can't just be fastballs all the time.
That's right.
Now, we teased here before the break. We were talking about the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL. And interesting, but I think most people would throw Patrick Mahomes number one. I know I probably would because he's a magician. Gets a little bit murky after that, but ESPN put out a list, and this was Jeremy Fowler put this up, and this polling, multiple people coming to a consensus and figured it all out, and it was Patrick Mahomes at number one, and then Joe Burrow number two, Josh Allen number three. Before we go any deeper than that, what are your thoughts on the polled top three quarterbacks in the NFL? Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
Well, I can't argue with number one. I don't think many people would. I just think putting Burrow at number two, I don't really like that for a guy who didn't play last season and is recuperating from a serious wrist injury, which might affect his ability to throw a forward pass, I'm guessing. So I wouldn't be that optimistic about his return. Yeah, if he were a healthy guy, if it was the same guy that beat Mahomes in a playoff game, you say, okay, yeah, you can put Burrow there. He's a terrific quarterback if everything's okay. So I don't know if I'd have him that high right now. I think it's kind of unusual, too, they left some people out. I wasn't happy with Brock Purdy being left out. I thought he was the top 10 quarterback, and he showed it last year in the playoffs. I think number three, Josh Allen, maybe that's a little high for a guy who makes as many mistakes as he does when you combine his turnovers and his fumbles. And he's a terrific quarterback.
Well, this list also has the highest and lowest rankings, and the lowest ranking that Mahomes got was a 2. And you look at the highest ranking Allen got was a 1, and he's the only other one who has a highest ranking as 1. So someone thinks he's better than Mahomes.
Yeah, probably somebody covering the Buffalo
Someone
Bills.
in Buffalo. Yeah, keep in mind this. This vote goes. He surveyed league execs, coaches, and scouts. So someone in Buffalo definitely probably
Working
voted
for the Bills,
for Josh Allen. Outside of the top three, Dwight, Lamar Jackson coming in at 4. I know he has the MVPs to his name, but I still wish he would just show me a little more as a passing quarterback. Here and there, he does, but I just want more. Supremely talented, though. Not a lot to say about that one. But Matthew Stafford climbing there, cracking the top 5. He was ranked 10th last year, and man, what a resurgence he's had with the Rams.
He had a good year last year, and physically, he's really good. He's another guy that's been plagued by mistakes throughout his career, but he got his Super Bowl. And this didn't used to happen, Chris. The whole ring culture thing. In the old days, when you were evaluating quarterbacks, nobody got into the idea, well, he's never won a Super Bowl. Well, that just wasn't a part of it. It was just like, what do you see of this guy as a quarterback on the field? It wasn't like he got credit for every win his team got. In those days, that just wasn't the way you did it. But right now, if you're going to start using rings, it's going to be difficult to evaluate these guys because I think, now you can help me with this, I think there's only 4 active quarterbacks who've won a ring.
Got Mahomes.
That's one.
You got Rodgers.
That's 2.
You got Stafford.
And you got Russell Wilson.
Give
me another one. So I think that's it.
It might be. I can't think one. Russ, I might have even spaced for a minute. I got the 3 off the top of my head without thinking. I might have skipped Russ, but you're right. It's a hard bargain here the rest of the way, right?
Well, and it shows you that, it shows me, It's probably not just the quarterback. You build teams that can win multiple Super Bowls like Mahomes has with good coaching, good scouting, good assistant coaches, all the things that go into that. And to give the quarterback full credit for that may not be correct because there's been other good quarterbacks that maybe won one or maybe didn't win any. Dan Marino, Dan Fouts, guys like that, who just didn't happen to be blessed with great quarterbacks or with great running backs and great coaches.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think there's a lot of people who had a chance to watch him play. A lot of people argue that Dan Marino is probably the best to ever do it, regardless. He just doesn't have the Super Bowls to back that up, but he was really good. Interesting as the list goes on, you have at 6, we'll skip that for a second. There's a reason why. But 7, C.J. Stroud, he's continuing his climb. Last year, not ranked. Lowest ranking was out of the top 10. Highest ranking was 2. I think he's a top 10 quarterback right now myself. Aaron Rodgers, who I think kind of fits into the same argument you have with Burrow. How does a guy who is 40 years old off a Achilles rupture crack the top 10 quarterbacks in the league? He's the Notre Dame of quarterbacks. He's getting by on his name despite the fact that they let you down somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
But I mean, he is good when he's healthy. He's good, but when healthy right now at that age with that injury is definitely a question mark. And then
and Chris, there's another guy you could say with that team he had in Green Bay, he just won one. That's all he won.
Really surprising when you think about it, ain't it?
He should have won more, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a lot of first and second round upsets in his career.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's always a knock on him. Only one, which is definitely surprising with how consistent that team was. And then after Rodgers, you have Jared Goff at 9, who I think it's interesting. That might be the rare trade in the world where both teams ended up winning because Goff has been great in Detroit. Stafford led the Rams to a Super Bowl. Like, they both just kind of needed a change of scenery, and they both played well.
It shows you that fit matters. Being in the right spot with the right coaches and all that matters. Because if they hadn't had that trade, I don't know that either one of them would have had the success they've had the last couple of years.
No, I think you're 100% spot on because they were both just kind of, floundering with their organization.
Muddling along.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And great trade for them. 10 is where I think I maybe it's just my Niner homerism and, your rivals, but like, is Dak Prescott really a top 10 quarterback?
I don't think so. I would have put Purdy there.
I mean, I'm not even advocating for Purdy in the top 10. I'm just saying Dak Prescott, like that.
Well, you could put Tua there. You could put, you could even put Lawrence there.
That's your honorable mentions, Dwight. Your honorable mentions are Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, and then Trevor Lawrence. I mean that takes a knock when Trevor Lawrence is in the honorable mention category and he's the highest paid quarterback in the league right now. Hurts, I think, is really good. I think he's really good, done great there in Philly, and Jordan Love is on the come up. But Purdy, to your point, man, even the execs honorable mention for a guy who got him to a conference championship till he blew his UCL, and then the next year when everybody doubts him, what's he do? Goes to the Super Bowl, has a great year. Like he's just like everybody on the team praises the man. Like they just want Mr. Irrelevant to fail so bad because they do, like, it just flips everything on his head if he succeeds. But
and people said when he came in that he wasn't any good, and his success was a product of all the good players around him. Well, they've all got good players around them. All those guys in the top 10 do, and it's just like nobody in that category wants to admit they were wrong about him from the beginning. And I run into that all the time. And I just think you got to be impressed by what he's accomplished, given he was the last pick in the draft.
Yeah. He's not a top 10 quarterback, despite the fact that last year in his first full season in the league, he led the league with a 72.8 QBR.
Wow.
So
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So he's good. I like Purdy. I'd advocate for him maybe over Prescott there because Prescott Prescott has all the tools to be a top 5 quarterback, if not more, but for some reason he falters all the time.
That's another guy that would profit, and we'll see it next year probably. Profit from a change of scenery.
I think you're, spot on.
Interesting to see him in another locale.
Yeah, he's got the talent. That's for sure. And then let's round back there to number 6, because that's the one that we really care about there. Justin Herbert at number 6, a fall from last year at number 5. And a lot of people, as the quote says here from the article, it says, Herbert's critics are quick to point out his pedestrian 30 and 32 career record as a starter, but most agree that the weight of the Chargers' struggles doesn't fall squarely on Herbert. And a quote here was, big, strong, fast, powerful arm, said one AFC personnel evaluator. He will stare down some targets and try to make some hero-type plays at times, holding the ball too long and throwing into tight windows, which I won't necessarily deny that. That was a problem that he had at Oregon, too, when they actually did allow him to open up and not throw a little screen pass, was locking on to one receiver. But also, if you're going to knock him for that, I mean, Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase all day long. He does the exact same thing, too. A lot of quarterbacks do, because they find the one receiver that they like a lot. Brock Purdy does it with Brandon Ayuk. So.
Yeah. Don't you think, too, though, it's real testimony to Justin Herbert's physical abilities that he's still a number 6 quarterback in that league without ever having won even a playoff game. Mm-hmm. He hadn't even won a playoff game, and he's still up there at number 6. People respect his physical talent. There's no question about that.
Oh, I think without a doubt. He might have one of the strongest arms in the game when he gets to unleash it. He's got the prototypical size that you look for. Yeah. And now you hope that you get to piece it together, because you got a really darn good football coach there in Los Angeles. So Harbaugh knows what he's doing, man.
Yeah. This is going to be kind of a big season for Herbert to show what he can do in an offense that's going to emphasize the running game. He's not going to be asked to do as much, but when he's asked to do it, he's going to have to do it.
Yeah.
You know.
And this is a year, too. I mean, the Chargers, though, I mean, Keenan Allen's gone and revamped the offense a little bit. Mm-hmm. Doesn't have some of the same weapons. Yeah. But Harbaugh proving that that's the way he likes to do it, that old school. And that's the personal way I would build my team, was investing in the line, keep my quarterback upright. Yeah. If my quarterback's not on the ground, Dwight, I can make average receivers look great. Sure. But if a quarterback is on his backside, he can't make great receivers look even average.
and those windows he has will get bigger if you're running the football consistently. Mm-hmm. They just will. I mean, there's no way that teams can stop both at the same time. So you're going to pass better when you run better.
Yeah, and also, and this was talked about with the hire there, but you saw the success that Harbaugh had, obviously in Michigan with J.J. McCarthy, and turning him into a great college quarterback, and some think might have some success in the NFL too. But obviously the greatest success story was what he was able to mold Andrew Luck into. I mean, if Andrew Luck just didn't get beat up in Indy, I mean, he was on his way to maybe being one of the greatest to ever play. But you look at the two, and the size, the arm strength, the intangibles, in line with Luck. And again,
intellect, very intelligent, both of them.
Now, personally, I think Luck was the better quarterback, but you could see that they're cut from the same cloth, built in the same mold that Harbaugh likes. So I think this is a big year for Herbert with Harbaugh. I want to see him succeed. But also keeping in the realm here of another Duck quarterback who's not going to crack your top 10 because he's a rookie, that's Bo Nix. And Bo Nix there in Denver, and everyone's talking about the whole, Sean Payton and the quarterback whisperer and Drew Brees comparisons to Nix. I don't really see those comps at all in my mind. I don't think they play a similar game. But what I think is interesting is Nix was at times kind of compared to like a Justin Herbert light, right? Again, the intangibles, making the smart plays. Doesn't have the cannon of an arm that Herbert does, but he can make the throw. And I think it's an underrated personnel signing that you do know that the Broncos earlier, I think it might have been late June or early, right around the first of the month here. But who's on their staff now? David Shaw.
Yeah.
Who was with Harbaugh during the Luck era and is credited heavily for building up on Andrew Luck. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can help do with guys like Bo Nix as well. So I think it's going to be a fun year for quarterback play in the NFL is what I'm getting at.
Well, especially for a couple of Ducks. They're going to be worth watching. And those games, when either Denver or the Chargers play on television here in Portland, those TV ratings would be crazy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Oh man, we're gonna put up with a lot of Denver Bronco talk this year. You better buckle up and get ready.
Oh, I get it all the time anyway. Don't worry about that. I get my share of Bronco talk.
You get your share of Bronco talk.
Yeah, we do talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, we all do. Interesting though, as you look at this, and again, granted, he had a terrible year, but man, the fall off of Russell Wilson, he's not in no honorable mention conversation or anything. It's execs have poo-pooed on him ever since he moved away.
Yeah.
So
we'll see.
Yeah, I like Mike Tomlin, but I think it might just be a little bit over for the Russell Wilson era, man. I can say I was wrong because I thought he was going to be good in Denver, but no, it fizzled apart, man.
Yeah, I'm real anxious to see what they do in Pittsburgh. They need a bounce-back season anyway. Last year was barely good enough.
Gosh, it's almost that time, man. I didn't feel like Super Bowl was like a week ago. And
camps are opening this week.
I know, so. and college football's right around the corner. The college football game drops officially on Friday, but if you ordered the deluxe edition, you can pre-download it, and that opened up today at 1:00. People can start playing. Mm-hmm. I think you saw a post earlier, almost 700,000 people playing it right now as we speak. So.
Right.
Oh, man. People have been thirsting for that game. Haven't had one since 2014, man.
Chris, when you play it, will you compete against other random people online or not?
No. I just like diving into a dynasty.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Playing with my friends. But I have a couple friends of mine that we already are locked in. We're going to do a dynasty together. And it's the Just Two Fans podcast, by the way, which we've shouted out on this radio show before, but we did a thing. We're all Ducks, right? And we're all hardcore college football fans. Mm-hmm. So we're like, hey, we're going to do a dynasty together, but we're going to make it fun. First off, we decided to revert everything back to the 2010 setting. So it's the Pac-12. Everything is intact, right? The old conferences that you remember and like. But then we got rid of all our favorite teams. So none of us can play as Oregon, right? And you can't be a powerhouse like Alabama. We said it had to be a non-Power 5 team or a Power 5 team that was under 500 last year. So and then it was all randomly spun, a draw. You had one chance to veto, but there was a risk there because if you vetoed, you might get someone worse. So I got my spin, and I stuck with my pick. So when we jump into this dynasty, I'm taking App State to the national championship.
Oh my goodness.
That is what I am tasked with.
Oh my!
Taking Appalachian State, baby. I'm just going to schedule Michigan at Michigan every single year.
Well, it's not going to be like their lineup or their players too well. That's for sure.
No, but I am excited. I bought this game every single year it came out. Dwight, I posted on social the other day. I still have all of them. The boxes of when I bought. It's a good game. I'm excited. My buddy works at EA. He's been working on it.
Do you have a PS5? What do you have?
I have a computer, and it's not on PC, but it is on Xbox. And my children have an Xbox. Okay. And their Xbox is about to become my Xbox for the next week or two. I'll let them have it back eventually, but they've got to learn to share, Dwight. These are life lessons.
Yeah. Of course, you'll be playing into the wee hours of the morning.
I will, because I don't get home till they're asleep half the time anyway.
Yeah.
All right, we will take a quick break here on the Rip City Drive. Plenty of more sports talk to get to, man. We've only hit the tip of the iceberg here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Welcome back into the Rib City Drive. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes, enjoying a beautiful Monday, right? Is it Monday? I've got to the point in my life, Dwight, where days just bleed together. I don't know what's what. Like, that's why I need the NBA season back, because then I have a little bit of consistency, because I know, like, oh, the Blazers play on Monday, Wednesday, Friday next week. So if I'm here for a Blazer shift, I know what day of the week it is. It kind of helps me. But right now, everything's just bleeding together, man. I have no idea what's going on. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Now, Dwight, you and I were talking a little bit before the show, and we were talking about Travis Bazana a little bit, and the baseball and it's ever changing, and trying to get ratings and this and that, and sometimes they help. Like like you said, the speeding up of the game, it did helps the in-home watch. It's a little nicer sitting on your couch, but some things just aren't broken. They try to fix them, and I think one of those things, and you brought it up and made some good points, is the home run derby. What was wrong with the home run derby that we had to change it up and not put the home run hitters that we all want to see in it? And what's going on?
Well, I think they're trying to speed up the home run derby just like they did with the games themselves. I think that's a part of it. But it's like the NBA dunk contest in that the very best people at doing it won't do it anymore. Now, when they started the dunk contest, you saw all the great dunkers in that contest. Jordan did it. Dr. J did it. The guys who could really dunk, they were in that contest. Dominique Wilkins, the real dunkers were there showing up. Nowhere close to that now. It's a bunch of guys nobody has ever heard of, for the most part, in the dunk contest. Home run derby, they have better-known guys, but the two best home run hitters in baseball, Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge, are not in it. So, I mean, what are we doing here? You're having a home run derby without those guys? It's taken some sheen off of it, some luster. And I think part of it is the sheer number of homers that you can hit now doesn't mean as much, because I think the ball's a little juiced, and we're seeing so many home runs hit during the regular season. How about putting a little change into this? How about saying you win if you hit the longest home run, or you win if you have the highest exit velocity? I would say offhand, the longest home run, because everybody loves to see that really, really long home run. And we have the technology now to measure that to the dang quarter inch almost.
Right.
So I think it'd be the best home run I ever saw was here in Portland when Willie Stargell, during a home run derby, hit it into the balcony of the Multnomah Athletic Club. The majestic path of that ball was incredible. And the crowd reaction was unbelievable. Let them hit long ones. Measure them. Do something like that, I think, rather than just sit there and watch somebody machine gun one after another out of a ballpark.
Yeah.
It gets a little boring after a while. And that's the criticism I hear about home run derby more than anything now, is it gets boring.
Well, I mean, you look at the lineup here. Guys like Alec Baum, Bobby Witt Jr., they aren't even in the top 25 in the league in home runs.
Yeah.
Which is weird. And then you look at guys who aren't in it. And granted, you got all these things that go in there, but you can't tell me that, hey, throw a guy like Bryce Harper in there with a little bit of name recognition and people get excited. You know what I mean? And I want to see Aaron Judge take glorified BP against Shohei Ohtani all day long.
Yeah.
Where's the days of Mark McGwire and Ken Griffey Jr. lining up? That's what I want to see. I mean, if you're going to have they have 8 guys? Yeah, if you have 8 guys hitting in the home run derby, it should be the 8 top home run hitters in the league.
Yeah.
That's what a home run derby should be.
Yeah, part of it, too, is a lot of guys who've done it won't go back because they believe it screws up their swing.
I've always heard that one.
I have, too. And I think there's probably some truth to it, because it's not the same swing that you take when you're just trying to hit in a game.
Very true.
you're uppercutting like crazy and probably swinging too hard. And
Well, the thing is when they did it in the old days, when it was you got the X amount of outs, right? And so
Yeah.
the pitches would just come, and you like I remember watching again. I watch McGuire all the time, just watching the ball go by till he got the one he wanted, and then you just yank it. But now they do it on the timers, so it's like, of course you're going to mess your swing up or hurt yourself. You're just trying to get your swing as fast as you can.
Well, especially if swings and misses don't count against you, you're going to swing at everything.
Yeah.
If it's just a timer thing.
I like old school. Again, we've already had this conversation. I just like it old school.
Well, I was brought up on the old Home Run Derby TV show where it was played in 9 innings and you got 3 outs in your inning. Anything but a home run was an out, whether it was a foul ball or a single or whatever else. If you didn't hit it out of the ballpark, 1 out.
Right?
Yeah, that's the way it was, and it moved pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's just it's the home run derby, Dwight, and like you said, not only because of the name recognition, but Aaron Judge leads the league at home runs. He's not in it. Shohei Ohtani's number 2 in the league. He's not in it. Then you got Gunnar Henderson and Marcell Ozuna, who are 3 and 4. They're in it. But,
Yeah.
Interesting. I do like the home run derby, even if it's not Judge and Shohei. It's still better than whatever they're rolling out for the dunk contest nowadays. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like the dunk contest is just, we've seen every dunk. Like,
Yeah.
you can't surprise me anymore. You can't.
There's
shock
not much
me.
left. When you've seen guys jump over cars
Yeah.
and jump over people, okay, good enough.
For me, it peaked with Vince Carter, but that's my era.
Yeah.
Like that was like the last one that the dunks were innovative and things were fun, and you had some years like you, Dominique, MJ, Isaiah Ryder. You had some years, but it's not fun anymore.
I kind of like Brent Berry in it. He was really good.
Yeah,
he
that's
was.
right. Shout out
3-point
OSU.
winner and a dunk winner, I believe.
That's fun. That's fun. All-Star weekends, though, they're kind of cool, but they're also just kind of a joke anymore. It doesn't matter what league it is. Dwight.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, hey, we got to talk still. We have to talk Angel Reese still. We got to talk USA basketball.
Oh,
We
yeah.
still got a lot to do. Good thing we still have an hour left of the show. Chris Burkhardt here with the Godfather, Dwight Jaynes. Hour 3 of the Receive Drive coming at you after the break. Hello there, Rose City. It is 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Chris Burkhardt here with you. Plenty of sports talk to get to. And let's start in Major League Baseball, where with the number 1 overall pick in the Major League Baseball draft, the Cleveland Guardians select Travis Bazzana out of Oregon State, another stud going to Major League Baseball out of the Corvallis pipeline. His teammate Aiden May was taken with the 70th overall pick. Jacob Comance, Bridger Holmes, and Elijah Hainline also have been selected out of Oregon State. Brock Moore, the lone Duck, taken to this point. In the NBA, the Blazers tip off in about a half hour their second game of Summer League action. They lost their first game on Saturday, 83-77 to the Spurs. And tonight on NBA TV, they take on the 76ers. Hour 3 of The Drive starts now. Well, Dwight, big story of the day. It could be anything. There's sports stories. There's huge non-sport stories. There's stories revolved around sports in Florida that are taking over the news waves. I mean, there's a lot I could ask you about, okay? And I'm going to ask you about a couple of them here. Throw you some curveballs. They're not necessarily something we wrote down, but I got to get your thoughts, man. I don't know if you've paid attention or the listener has. If you haven't, you should. Just the craziness that went down at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami this Copa America final. It was Colombia and Argentina. Colombia lost 1-0, but man, there was a rush of fans to get in, broke down a barrier, reports of a bunch of unticketed fans getting in, which caused a ruckus. And now the president of the Colombia Federation of Soccer has been arrested and is facing 3 felony charges. There was reports of, dozens, if not hundreds of people injured. Miami police said they responded to over 100 calls. Most of them were medical. I mean, just a crazy event that went down here in Miami.
Chris, it's very it's very on brand for soccer. I don't see this happening a lot in other sports, but all over the world, this kind of thing seems to happen in soccer. I can't tell you why, but they're blaming now. The people who did this are blaming security at the stadium. They're blaming the people who organized this for their own foolishness of breaking in there. And we've talked about this a little, you and I. Has this happened at football games, basketball games,
right?
Baseball games? I don't see it happening anywhere but at soccer matches.
Yeah, it seems like a exclusively soccer thing. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. As someone pointed out on social that, that same stadium throws in 65,000 people for a Dolphin game or a Miami Hurricane game. And I mean, they had a F1 there. I mean, it has those events without that happening. So, yeah. I mean, it's obviously a major security breakdown on multiple fronts. Don't know what that answer was, but a lot of finger pointing. But I don't know if Hard Rock Stadium is necessarily at fault there because they've had a lot of events there without that going on. So.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they probably weren't prepared. I think the average security at a soccer match in South America probably includes armed guards and all kinds of other things that they might not have had at Miami for this, but it was disgraceful conduct, and it held up the start of the game for like an hour and a half while they tried to clear people out that weren't entitled to be in there. It was a mess and dangerous, too.
Well, I mean, soccer is a loyal, passionate fan base in general, and when you get the national teams going at it, it's just tenfold, right?
Yeah.
I mean, tenfold. When you have Messi playing, one of the biggest soccer stars on the planet, like, yeah, it's a recipe for disaster at the end of the day. So yeah, just a crazy situation that went down there at Miami. Now, before I get to my next topic, like, can we all agree that the texts to you about polls and voting and stuff are some of the most annoying spam texts on the face of the planet? Like, I'll reach out to you if I have questions. I don't need to answer your text message about what I think about some ballot measure. Like, those are annoying. Like, stop.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like, I just got one as I'm talking. Like,
did you?
Yes.
What did it ask you for?
I don't know, because I saw it and I just deleted it. I don't need it.
Oh.
I don't know. No, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Didn't you infiltrating my text messages?
Yeah, and I don't necessarily want to share my opinions with you, right?
But the thing that cracks me up, has anyone ever on the face of the planet been swayed by the voting text or the person soliciting for a political candidate who knocks on your door? The answer's no. Like,
No.
I was gonna vote yes on that measure until John knocked on my door.
Yeah. No, I feel away too.
Like, it's
when
just,
those candidates start knocking,
Right.
it's like, I didn't invite you to my home. What are you doing here?
It just cracks me up. The only person that can knock on my door without me anticipating them and get away with it is if it's a Girl Scout cookie. Okay, like that. If you're doing that, you're gonna get away with it. And then on Halloween to say trick or treat. That's about it. Like,
That is it. Yeah.
like,
No, and we've had a run lately of exterminators.
yeah.
Yeah, we can do we're just in the neighborhood. We did your neighbor's yard. So for a special price, we'll come up and spray you for ants and pests and termites and all that stuff.
Now, do you have a service?
We have somebody that we use, I think quarterly. They come in and
Now, as do
spray
I.
down.
As do I. So then you get the same spiel that I get, and that is, oh yeah, well, company X doesn't do this, and we do this, and that.
Right.
Nah, you're the bug guy. You're spraying the same anti-bug juice that company A is. Okay,
Yeah.
like,
if we can even trust you to do it, because we didn't ask you here and you're just knocking on doors.
Yeah.
How do I even know that you don't have water in those spray guns? You know?
right?
How do I know that?
Yes, I will say I never had a bug guy for a while at my old house. Then someone did knock on my door. I was like, you know what? I just moved into this house. Yeah, I'll take it, and it does help. Because I'll notice I get the bugs, and then they come and spray. Bugs are gone. It helps.
We usually need it right at the start of summer when the ants decide they want to try and get inside.
Oh, all the time. They
or the
find
spiders or whatever.
ants, man. They do come marching
Isn't
in,
that
don't
funny?
they?
The ants, they come marching
They
in
find
like
a
crazy.
way. They
Yeah.
find a way. One little droplet of water, and there they are. But that one always cracks me up, too. Yeah, I'm actually under contract with the... Oh, yeah, well, no, you don't... I'm under contract. Like, I'm with them for the next year or whatever, no matter what you tell me right now.
Yeah.
So you just go back to, you go back over to John's house across the street and you go spray his. We'll be good to go. I appreciate you. And the worst part is those people who do that, because it's their job, so I fully respect it there. But they always sit there and go, they're sitting in their car like, I really don't want to go knock on this person's door.
Cold calling people on things like that.
Those poor souls.
Gosh.
Like,
tough job.
Oh, without a doubt. And I did it too. And, shout out to my wife. She does it now as a personal trainer. That was the one part I hated about the job, was the sales part. I love training people.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh yeah, send out emails and make some phone calls and this and that. Like, yeah, no one who signed up for the gym wants the personal trainer to call them at 8 o'clock in the morning to see if they're interested in paying me more money. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, salespeople have a tough job. I'm just gonna put it like,
it's terrible.
It is insane. Now, we were talking about Copa America and the craziness in Miami, but in the respect of that, it makes you think of other national team sports going on. And in an exhibition game against Australia, the United States men's basketball team showed some holes in their lineup, Dwight, that this all-star cast, the super redeemed team, or whatever you want to call it, man, they put together, without a doubt, some of the best players on the face of the planet. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they have the best team here, as they scraped one and then, got out lucky with that win over Australia, a team that, as you pointed out, isn't full of a who's list of NBA talent.
Yeah, I think, they ended up winning by 4. it was a game played, I think, in the early wee hours of the morning here in the U.S. because they're playing in where are they playing?
They are in Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, right. And they're going to play, I think, 3 more exhibition games there before they go to Paris. But these guys are living in luxury over there, too. You can bet on that. But they win by 4 points over the Australians, and they blew a 24-point lead, I think. And you can say, well, they just got a little complacent. But look, folks, this is the kind of thing that's happened to the U.S. team for years because they pick an all-star team instead of picking a basketball team. A basketball team has role players on it, rebounders, shooters, passers, point guards, power forwards, etc. They fill positions, and they understand the need that not everybody on your team needs to be a superstar, and not everybody really ought to be a superstar. And they got away from that for a while and had tremendous success. But right now they're at it again, and they barely beat an Australian team.
With names like
should I go through
through the list? I mean, there's names you'll recognize, but you'll understand why it's like, oh, really? That's what happened.
Yeah, let me look them up and see. I got some
Blazer fans know one. Dwight Jaynes on that team.
Well, they got their starting guards were Josh Giddey and Patty Mills. Okay, now that's fine if you're an NBA team not looking to make the playoffs, maybe. I love Patty Mills, but Patty Mills has been around a long time. And he just he can't find a spot on an NBA team right now. And then they played Jock Lonsdale at center, bottom half of NBA centers. And they bring in Dante Exum off the bench. But they're not. This is not a superstar-laden team. If that team can stay within 4 points of the U.S. Olympic team, don't you think some of those European talented, really talented teams could do something with them?
You would think, right? Absolutely, because some of those other national teams play a little bit different brand of team ball. That's for sure.
They do. And I think of the team in Spain is always, those guys have been playing together, Rudy Fernandez and Sergio. Those guys have been playing together forever, and they know how to play together, and they know how to win against the Americans, and they will do that. So all the people who think they're just going to have a walkthrough at the Olympics, maybe they should. They're certainly more talented than anybody they play.
Oh, without a doubt, top to bottom.
Yeah, but we've pointed this out, Chad and I, the last week or so. They're not familiar with FIBA rules. They don't understand the goaltending. They don't understand when the ball's on the rim, you can either dunk it or knock it away. Not our goaltending rules. They don't understand the level of contact allowed. There's a whole bunch about it that they don't get, and they get taken advantage of. And I just think you better watch the games. And the last Olympics wasn't exactly a cakewalk for them. They had a couple tough games too. And it's not easy. It's not going to be easy because these other countries are catching up quick. And wouldn't surprise me at all to see us take a loss.
Hey, and no one's debating the talent level either. I mean, the rotation, right? The first 5 off the bench on Team USA could be its own Olympic team. Like, that's how good they are. But did show some holes in the way they can be attacked. A lot of standing around. Need a little more team ball out of those guys. Like you said, guys to come play their roles. You look at the lineup of the United States men's basketball team, there's like one guy on there that you can go, oh, yeah, that's the defensive guy.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday. Like, so that, okay.
Booker, well, they did. They picked up Derek White. And
yeah,
he's
that's
another
a good
guy
get.
Who can defend.
Yeah.
But for the most, and they're playing without Kevin Durant right now, which I wouldn't be surprised if he never is ready to play, because that's what you get. It's not. He's not like Kawhi. But he's hurt frequently, and he doesn't seem to come back quickly when he's hurt.
Yeah, Kawhi not playing, going to practice and then not playing is the most Kawhi
You know what I
thing
heard,
ever.
too? You know what's going around?
Huh.
He didn't quit.
Uh-oh.
They asked him to go. And he was allowed to say he quit because they didn't want to disparage him. But apparently he wasn't up to peak conditioning, and they just didn't think he was going to help.
Wow. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm still rooting for Team USA because, go win some gold, baby. That's all it's about. All right, they're going to take another break here. We come back, still plenty to talk about. We haven't even got into the Angel Reese combo I wanted to get into. Maybe we'll do that next year on the Rip City Drive. Welcome back into the Rip City Drive. Chris Burkhart here, filling in for Chad Doing, joined by the Godfather Dwight Jaynes. You can follow us on Twitter. Follow me at Chris J. Burkhart. You can follow Dwight at Dwight Jaynes. He's got a good chuckle. I was on the ring cam there. I got a notification, so I chimed in. I always chime in and yell at my daughters because they're on it. And they're leaving the house right now because Peyton, this is going to blow your mind, Dwight, because you remember when we were traveling at NBC, and granted, you and I haven't gone to the airport together now since pre-COVID, so
it's been a long time.
It's been a minute, right? So you remember Peyton? She's just little Peyton, right?
Yeah.
Little 1, 2 year old. Yeah, she is. She's 8. She'll be 9 next month. And Danielle is leaving right now because they're going to her first day of cheer. She is doing cheer this season.
Really?
And so she's gonna go be a little cheerleader. And yeah, so there you go, little Peyton, little 1-year-old. Do you remember at the airport is now going to cheer?
Is this going to be the acrobatic kind of cheer where they're kind of standing up on each other's shoulders?
So what happened was a couple weeks ago, there was a cheer camp at Milwaukee High School, and she wanted to do that. So we went to that. It was just a 4-day in the middle of the week. Just, it was, and she went to that and she fell in love. So now she's like, the coach said that if we want to keep doing it, that there's a cheer season and we could do that. And you want to do it? Yeah, I want to do it. And at that little camp, they let her be a flyer. So they did have 4 people hold her up.
Oh, my.
And she got spooked. She got spooked, and but she did do it, and I think she might break out of her shell. But I mean, she's tiny. She's one of the smallest kids and one of the youngest kids, so she does enjoy it though. It's actually fun. I was telling Danielle about it. Is she plays softball and she plays soccer too. Anyway, sometimes when she plays softball, I got to do the hey Peyton, pay attention, Yeah. It's cheerleading. Oh no, man, locked in. And so as a parent, when you watch them finally find one of those things that just piques their interest to the point that they can't help but just focus on just that. They aren't. It's like you're like, okay, if that's what you want, let's do it. I'll learn to cheer right next to you. Brings me a sense of pride. So she's gonna go have some fun and do some cheering.
That it shows you exposing them to as many things as you can is beneficial.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and you learn that. And you could tell that she loves softball and she loves soccer too. She likes. I think she really enjoys just being a part of a team. Right? She enjoys that. But man, when you see her eyes peek up and she gets excited, it's pretty cool. So shout out to her. She's gonna go have some fun. So
good.
That's fun. And then you laugh. Yeah, my daughter.
Was Danielle a cheerleader? Was she? Did she? She was.
Nope. She was
an athlete, probably.
No, she was just a band geek like me.
Huh.
She was on the golf team, and this is funny. So she was on the golf team, and I tell her all the time, like, you were on the golf team in high school. Like, I enjoy golfing. I'm not good at it, but I enjoy it. Well, we need to go golfing. She was like, I'm not that good. I'm like, you were on the golf team. She goes, we were on the golf team because me and her friend, best friend at the time, also named Danielle, wanted to just go do it because our moms wanted us to go do a sport, and it gave us a reason to go hang out together. She goes, we would have the worst scores on purpose, so we were always paired together. And I'm like, oh.
Gosh.
So she's like, I'm not even that good. I'm like, she's like, I did let her in it though.
That's great.
She is funny, but no. So that's what they were doing there on the old ring cam. Got the notification going out to cheerleading camp. So that'll be fun. I get lots of videos and pictures after that. So I'm gonna learn cheers. I'm gonna have them stuck in my head. Everybody do the Mustang Rumble. That was the cheer she was doing the other day. I had it stuck in my head. So.
Sure, Milwaukee Mustang.
There you go. So, all right, Dwight, I do want to get back on track here, though, and I want to talk about something that I just got to get your opinion on here. And this one just really been eating at me over the last few days, and that is just breaking some unwritten rules of the game. All right. So we can go back a few years, and I'm sure you remember this. It was the Blazers at Houston. Houston is up 6 points, 15 seconds left. Houston has the ball. All they got to do is dribble the ball out, right? The Blazers, they go into mope mode. No one plays defense. They walk away. Chris Paul takes a pass, lays it up to give the Rockets a 9-point lead. They didn't need it. The game was over, right? Damian Lillard jars with him. They go back and forth. Dame was not happy. Like, why? You didn't need that bucket. The game was over. That's just pouring salt in the wound. Chris Paul came back with, well, if you ain't going to play defense, I'm going to take advantage. And that was just one of those things I bring up because A, it's Blazer related, and B, when you kind of break unwritten rules and do things that are dumb, like, fishing for an extra point there when the game's already over, sometimes you have to deal with the repercussions of people getting mad at you. Now, for some reason, though, Dwight, Angel Reese is getting kind of a free pass and all this pub about consecutive double-doubles, and she's breaking the record, and she's doing that, which is cool. Good on her. But so many of these games, the highlights are at the end of the game where the other day she got her double-double by scoring a bucket with like 2 seconds left with her team down by 14 when they could have just dribbled the ball out. And then there was people on social media dogging the New York Liberty because they're like, yeah, we're having none of this. And they quadruple teamed her late in the game when she was trying to stat pad. Yeah. Like, why is Angel Reese not getting the same treatment that you get in the NBA for breaking these unwritten rules when she's scoring buckets to get her double-doubles when her team's, like I said, down by 14 and she's 5 seconds left? I could dribble out, or I could go out and get my bucket and get my double-double.
Yeah, Blazer fans might be able to remember those games where both CJ and Dame, I think in the same season, had 50 points with significant amount of time left in the game. One of them, I can't remember if it was Dame or CJ, had 50 after 3 quarters. But the team was way ahead, and they bowed out at that point. They could have ended up maybe with 70, 75 points, but you don't do it in a game where you're up by 20, 25 points. It's meaningless. And it's also really Bush League. Now, that might be a concept that they haven't caught on to yet in the WNBA, but it's just not good form to do that. It's not good to by the way, she broke the record for consecutive double-doubles. To me, breaking a record that nobody even knew existed before you broke it isn't all that meaningful in the first place. I never respected a double-double in the NBA. That's what you're supposed to do when you're a power forward. You're supposed to get 10 rebounds and 10 points. That's not that tough to do that.
Right.
If you're a point guard, that's a little different story. But look, she gets rebounds by missing her own shots inside. Everybody knows that. She averages what? You told me, I think, I got it here. She averages 4.8 offensive rebounds a game. I would say at least 2 of those are her own misses.
That's a stat that needs to be kept.
She operates almost solely on the inside, in the paint. That's what she does because she's not an outside shooter. She's shooting 20% from 3 and doesn't take very many. But she's shooting inside all the time, and her field goal percentage this year is 40.2%. I mean, that's not good. It's borderline terrible for somebody that's an inside player shooting at the basket a good portion of the time. So don't try to impress me with her. Don't talk to me about her being a Rookie of the Year candidate. She's not. She's kind of a one-trick pony. She's a rebounder. Hey, give her credit for that. She's a pretty good rebounder. She gets a lot of rebounds. She's averaging, 12 a game, I think you told me, Chris? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's fine. But that's not enough. She's not an all-around player. I don't know if she ever will be. She can get better as a shooter. I think she's 75.7% from the foul line. That's okay. It's not great. It's okay. But I was so happy that the New York Liberty kept her from keeping that streak alive by defending her with multiple players late in the game when she's out there working so hard just to keep a personal record alive, not anything that has to do with her team, a personal record alive. That's not what the sport is for.
Right. And in perspective, too, 40% on 2-point field goals for a big in that game. I mean, how many times did people knock Yusuf Nurkic in his time here for not being consistent around the rim?
He was like at 48.
Well, his 2-point percent, I mean, at the rim is one thing, but overall his 2-point percentage numbers his last year in Portland, he was 56% on 2-point field goals. Right? Now, he took a dip at the rim, which you want to see more, but even him, he's able to get shots up, and he still wanted more. 40% for a big is just like inexcusable. And you compare that to Breonna Stewart, who, granted, she is, a 2-time MVP, has finished in the top 3 all of her last 5 seasons played. Keep in mind, she didn't play in 2019 due to an injury. But, I mean, she's shooting 55% on 2-point field goals this year, 54% this year, 52% for her career on 2-point field goals alone. And 40% for a big is not crazy, especially when you're fishing for them like Reese is right now. And again, I'm not saying Reese is bad by any means. I think she's done a few things lately in her early WNBA career that can't get out of her own way publicly, right? But man, she gets a free pass for the way she was hunting. Think about this, Dwight. Go back to Russell Westbrook when he won an MVP and he was getting triple doubles, right? And he sets the all-time record for triple doubles, and he's going crazy. And people just knocked him for stat padding. Angel Reese does the same thing, and it's like, oh, just look at how good she's doing. She should be knocked just like Russ was for chasing those.
Yeah, Russ was famous on free throws, defensive free throws. The other team was shooting a free throw, knocking his teammates out of the way to get that rebound off a missed free throw. The easiest rebound in sports, I mean, the missed free throw, you have inside position already, and he would knock his own teammate out of the way to grab that one just so he could get that. Because for a guard, that rebound's the hardest one to get of the 3.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think Angel Reese, at the end of the day, the comp with like a Dennis Rodman type, because she's a good rebounder. She's a good rebounder.
Yeah.
You got to give her that.
But she's averaging 1.8 assists and 1.8 turnovers a game. Same. Which that's not good either.
Yeah, and she's not a great scorer at the end of the day. Yes, she's got the double-doubles, but again, not her strength. Play those strengths. And she's definitely enjoys playing the villain, which I like. Every sport has a hero. They need a villain too.
Yeah.
So I'm not knocking her in the least. I'm knocking more so the coverage of she gets the pass for chasing when other people's don't. Now, I want to get your take, though, on the other highly touted rookie, who's probably the rookie of the year right now, and that is Caitlin Clark. She has played well.
Yeah.
But also, Dwight, a thing that irritates me with her is she gets a pass, too, because earlier in the year, she had a lot of turnovers. She still does. She's very, very turnover prone. Early in the year, though, Dwight, it was all, her teammates are the ones who are missing the ball, right? The pass is there, but she's not putting the ball. It's hitting their hands. It's falling off, whatever. I get that in week 1 and week 2 and, dozen games in. But as the season goes on, some of that becomes incumbent on the passer, too, because maybe you're making passes. You haven't adjusted your passes to make them passes that your teammates can get.
Exactly.
But she gets a free pass. Oh, she has already set the record for turnovers in the year. But you know what? It's all her teammates' fault.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you find that you have a teammate who doesn't really receive the ball well, don't throw a 95-mile-an-hour pass to him. That's destined to fail, and that's what you're seeing. She's also renowned for her three-point shooting, and every time she makes one, they show it in the highlight film, but she's not percentage-wise a good three-point shooter. She takes a lot of them and makes them from deep, but she's like a 30 to 33% three-point shooter, which isn't really good enough from the shorter line with a smaller basketball.
I want to know too on the grand scheme too, like how good are her assists? Are how good are her passes? Because not all assists are great assists. I think of someone like Jason Williams back with the Kings. Like he may have been one of the all-time greats at making sure his passes were placed perfectly in the shooting pocket for his teammates to catch. Right. Like, oh, yeah, I got the assist, but the ball was at my teammates' ankles, and they had to pick it up, and they had enough time to shoot. Like, there was an old interview with Jason Williams about him being cognizant of his passes so that when they hit his teammates' hands, the stripes of the ball were lined up because people don't like shooting when they're in the like little things but those little things. That's what makes him a great point guard in the traditional sense of setting up his teammates. So again, Caitlin Clark, she's great. She's put eyeballs on the game. She's put butts on the seat. But again, she shouldn't be getting a free pass for some of her mistakes, too. At the end of the day, though, they're both rookies. I think they're both going to be great. I liked Angel Reese's run at LSU And she is leaning into this villain thing. She needs to lean into it more.
Oh, yeah.
Just full on villain and give it to me. Why not? I'm going to enjoy it. Hey, we do have a phone call. Should we take it?
Yeah, go
Should
ahead.
we take it? We got time here in this segment. This is Mike in North Portland said he has a trade idea, and I'm assuming he's talking about the Portland Trailblazers.
Probably, yes.
Mike, welcome into the River City Drive. The floor is yours.
Chris, Dwight, I just want to put a button on the WNBA. I think it's becoming a better product than it was.
Oh, without a
It's
doubt.
not perfect, of course. Of course it's not, but small steps, right? You got to
Yeah.
start somewhere. Okay. So what I wanted to call in and talk about is the whole idea. We're pretty much decided we're a tank team again, right, fellas?
Absolutely.
The idea of being a tank team in this next draft, especially for us as Trailblazer fans, is to go get that power forward of the future, which looks like the top 2 picks are going to be those power forwards of the future. I think that's a very minimally small chance we actually wind up with number 1, number 2. So here's my idea. We just overpaid greatly for a starting caliber small forward who's right in our wheelhouse. Instead of tanking this next year, and when I mean by instead of tanking, I don't mean we're a playoff team. What I mean is we're not going to actively sit guys. We're not going to actively try to get 25 or less wins. We're going to play to win. We're not going to win very much, but we're going to play to win, Angela Group. Why not go out and see if we can overpay for a power forward this season? And I mean really overpay, like astronomically overpay, to get a group gelled going this year, get a year ahead. Who's my target? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense in Houston anymore. I think Jabari Smith, who got used like a guard this last year, who's seeing minutes, who's seeing stats, but has not been developed as a big at all, would be a great addition to that lineup.
All right.
So-
Now, how are you going to get him?
I'm sorry?
How do you propose getting him?
Well, with all those vets on that team, it's kind of a confusing situation down there in Houston. What are we doing with Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, players like Steven Adams? What are they trying to do down there? So maybe we just throw way too much at them to make them decide to pick a direction. You want DeAndre Ayton as a centerpiece? You got it. You want Jeremy Grant? You got it. You want Anthony Simons? Sure. You want 3 picks? Go for it. Whatever it takes to get Jabari Smith. That's all I had. I'll take your comments off the air.
All right.
Hey, I will say Mike's onto something. If I can get Ayton and Grant and all out and then get Jabari, you just send out your 3 best players and the tank just became a little bit easier. Now I have heard rumblings though that Jabari is that prime candidate where
I think they're shopping Jabari.
Yeah.
For sure. He's a good player. I don't disagree with that, and I don't disagree with getting rid of all the veteran players. These are complicated deals. You got to make sure all those salaries match up.
Oh yeah,
and
for sure.
That's the big problem. They don't have a lot of wiggle room on the cap. I don't have time to look at the cap right now and figure out if those salaries indeed match. I would doubt that they do, simply because just Grant makes so much money.
Right.
He himself is way more than Jabari on a rookie contract is getting.
Yeah, but you can see the incentive to be bad though when you see the highlights coming out of Team USA camp. Granted, we already pointed out that Team USA has some defensive holes, but Cooper Flagg looked pretty good.
You know what else is going around? If one more guy goes down for them, Cooper Flagg's going to be the replacement.
Oh my gosh,
That's what they're saying.
That'd be a storyline.
People out there
right there.
covering this are saying he's got a great chance to be the next man up. Say Durant can't play or something. Rather than going into an NBA team, they'll just take Cooper.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm with you, Mike. I do think Jabari. I would take Jabari Smith in a minute. I think that's
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And your bookend on the WNBA, you are absolutely right. Because
And if you get Cooper Flagg, you wouldn't play him at power forward.
Yeah.
You-
No.
He plays the 1, 2, and the 3. Hey, he can play the 4, but I think he's wasted there. You got to put him in a position where he's handling the ball more.
He's going to be fun.
He's creating plays for others.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. The WNBA, it is growing. Baby steps, baby. I like it. Now just get me a team back in Portland because I want that. I do want.
Can
the
I
Portland
say one
Fire
thing
back.
about that WNBA? For me, still not watchable. Too many turnovers, too many missed shots. I don't find it exciting at all.
Baby steps, Dwight.
Do you watch it?
I do occasionally,
Do you?
but that's because I really like Sabrina and I like Kelsey Plum.
I watch Sabrina once in a while.
I watch more casually, like a lot of NBA casuals will watch because they like LeBron or they
Right.
like Steph, but they don't have a team. They like players. Like that's how I am with the WNBA.
Yeah, I get that.
Like Asia Wilson, I love Kelsey Plum, Sabrina. I don't really have a team though. Put one in Portland though, I'd have a team. All right, we got to take a break. So we can compose our thoughts and think of who we're gonna hand our high fives to. High fives coming up next on the Rip City Drive. Blazers up 23-14 with 2 minutes 48 seconds left in the first quarter of their second summer league game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Trailblazers rookie Donovan Clingan, 4 minutes, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks. No points scored thus far. Ryan Rupert, though, 9 points to lead the way for the Blazers. There is your update. And a high five. Good job, Shacker. Dwight, you got a high five for us today?
Yeah, I'm going to give my high five today to Brock Purdy because I know he's feeling bad about not being named in the top 10 quarterbacks in that survey. So I know he'll take solace in the high five I'm giving.
Oh,
him.
yeah, it's
Make him feel better.
keeping him up at night.
Yeah.
You got one back there, Michael Shacker, or no? I always put him on the spot. I don't know if he's ready to talk or not.
No, he's not.
No, not from home. He's not into that.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's
Doubt
too relaxed.
No, I had my monitor on. I still have my monitor on, but here I am. Yeah, I want to give a high five to Dwight Jaynes because he's so fired up for the Blazers playing another preseason game in Seattle.
Shacker's the best. And
Really excited about it.
well, I'm going to give my high five out to EA Sports. The college football game comes out on Friday officially, but for those you diehards who pre-ordered, you can play it today, and I might have to go pre-order it, even though I should probably wait till Friday just to line up, my finances. But I've been waiting 10 years for this, man. I can't.
Yeah, you don't want to get left behind. Besides, I want you to play tonight so we can talk about it tomorrow. You can give me a full report. I think the people, and we're all about the people. The people want to hear your review on it, Chris.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. So I might have to go do that, and
tell the wife that you need to do it for work.
Yeah, and then if we dedicate a segment of the show to it tomorrow, then I can approach Chad and be like, "Hey, that was a work expense, so you're gonna have to help me out." Hey, I did do that. I did do that at our old place of employment.
Yeah, they talked about the transfer portal. You have to see the transfer portal option. How does that work?
Yeah, the new NBA 2K was coming out, and we wanted to see how the Blazers stacked up. I wanted to see all their ratings and everything, so I bought the game and got it expensed as long as I wrote an article about it. So
perfect,
and I did. So there you go. So I'm gonna do the same here. All right, be ready for that email, Chad. He loves my emails. I know that. As soon as he gets an email with a Chris Burkhardt ping, he's like, "Oh, here we go again."
Yeah, probably so.
Well, you're gonna tell me you want me to do it? You're not gonna go. You're not gonna stop at Best Buy, grab an Xbox, and go home and play it tonight, Dwight?
I'm gonna be kind of busy tonight. Yeah, I otherwise I'd be doing it. But yeah, I got a lot of loose ends to tie up tonight. Take care of business. I got a lot of that.
Were you ever a video game player? Or did you miss it?
No, I don't care about them.
Oh,
I really don't. Never have. I did play a little Leisure Suit Larry in the old days. You probably don't know about.
Oh,
I know.
I know about Leisure
you know
Suit
that
Larry.
game?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Look, it was kind of fun to play that in the old days.
Oh, Dwight, you're funny. But yeah, maybe I'll go play some tonight. And like I said, the life lesson to my children that their Xbox is now mine until further notice. So.
They're so fired up about cheer camp that.
Oh yeah, very fired up. By the way, I must have maybe embellished the story, or she just didn't want me to call her out because I did get the "Hey now" text from your wife, my wife.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but the "Hey now" text from the wife after I called her out for her golf career.
Oh,
at
really?
Centennial High School.
Yeah, she doesn't want family secrets coming out.
No, she doesn't want to know that. I think she's just afraid to come play golf with me. But
I shouldn't have asked. That was my bad. I put you in a tough spot.
Oh, it's hey, she was a band kid. She came from a band family, man. Her sister was drum major, and then she was a senior when we were freshmen. Then she took over, and she was a drum major. And I kept trying to be drum major at the high school level, and they kept telling me no. So I got irritated, and I just went and became the drum major in college. Yeah.
Wow.
You guys tell me I'm not good enough. I'm gonna prove you wrong. Did.
There you go. Motivation.
Yeah, I know a buddy who's working on that EA game. I asked him if he was kind enough to put one of the recordings that we did of the fight song into the game. He's like, no, we didn't do that. Jerk.
Well, when you play, you're going to create a character that's you.
Yeah.
Looks like you, your name.
Heck
Will
yeah.
Will you play Iron Man?
I'll
Defense and offense?
Heck yeah. I'm going to be a 5-star athlete.
What position are you?
Oh, you got to go quarterback. It's the most fun to play if you go one position. It's most fun to play in the video game. I was a running back when I played the actual game of football, though. All right, we got to get out of here, though, Dwight. I think we'll do it again tomorrow. You'll have Chad in the morning from 6 to 9. Then me and the Godfather right back here from 3 to 6 in the afternoon. Rip City, you guys been awesome. We'll talk to you tomorrow.